Okay, for part 5, you're going to create your first project here. When you log into Tinkercad, you should see kind of like all the projects that you've been working on, or you might not see anything if you haven't made anything yet. So the first thing you do is click on New Design. Make sure that when you're creating your project, you read all the directions over here for what the requirements are for it. I'm just going to show you kind of a demonstration on how to do some stuff. Okay, so let's say we wanted to make an object and we made a box. All right, so there's our box, we're done. But make sure you read all the directions about what you really need. All right, but let's say that I want to print out a box. Um, First thing you need to do is it says rename by clicking on the odd name Tinkercad gave it and typing in your last name, your first name, and then part 5A first draft. Okay, so that's up here what they're talking about. If you click on it, it'll change the name. So it says last name, first name, part 5A, first draft, and then enter. Okay, that'll save it as that name. Okay. You want to click on the measuring tool, which is the ruler over here, and then you click on it, and that'll give you all of your measurements. And you want to take a screenshot of the top, the front, and the side, and then insert your screenshots below like we did before. So same thing as before. If you don't have the snipping tool open, you go to Start, type in snip, pull it up. All right, that's the last thing that I snipped. So it says we want the top. All right, so there's the top. And then I click on the snipping tool, do a screenshot of that so I get the top there. And now if I just paste it in here, Control V, it'll pop it down there. And it's okay when you're doing screenshots if it moves it to the next page, that's fine. Okay, so I just got rid of that for now. After you do the front, the top, the front, and one of the sides, the next thing you're going to do is where it says over here, part 5, for printing your object. So we renamed it. It shows you how to do that. And then you want to make sure that your object is flat. So you can see on this one that this side of it's not exactly flat. And the way you look for that is if you right click and then move the mouse up, it'll kind of make the work plane go flat like this. And if it wasn't flat, you'd be able to see some space underneath it. Another way to kind of tell if it's flat is this 0 over here. For example, if you type in 10, you can see obviously it's not flat down. So you can change it by pressing that. So if you go to 0, it'll bring it down to the bottom. The problem is, and let me get rid of the ruler. The problem is if you were to like design something where you had something on an angle, you can see that that's not flat, right? So that would be a problem. So we need to lift it up a little bit, and this arrow will let you lift it until it says 0. But this might not print out so great because it's kind of on an angle there. So if you notice something's like that and it shouldn't be, you want to make sure you rotate it back so that it's flat. And then this could take a little bit of time because you want to flatten it out, let it go, and then bring it down to 0. And you can see that this one's still kind of off by a little bit. Even though it says 0, if you zoom in, you can see there's a little bit off there, and that could actually mess up your design when it gets printed. So if it's not too complicated, you might want to restart and then design something over again if you can't get it perfectly kind of like bent over so that it's flat. Another thing you could do is you could actually put a new object down there that when they're new, they're definitely flat. So you can kind of like change the base a little bit, throw that under there, and then that would guarantee that that part's going to be flat, all right, because you added something that is flat in there, all right. And then to group the two together, you kind of highlight them and then click this button over here, and that'll combine those two objects. So now if you were to just click on one of them, they would, whoop, just kidding. Let's try it again. All right, so highlight both of them, group, okay, and then if I click on the top, the whole thing goes now. So now they're grouped together. So that would be another way to fix that problem. All right, so let's say we want to download this. you would click the download button or export. So here we click on export. It'll bring this up, and this is important. You want to make sure that you click on everything in the design, and that'll download all of your objects. And for me, there was only one object back there, so it didn't matter. And then you click on STL because that's the format that our 3D printer will print. Once that happens, you'll see it pop down here. It should have your last name like we renamed it. All right. And then we want to put this into this Part 5 folder. So once you've downloaded your file, check that you renamed it, and then you want to put it into the Part 5 Google Drive folder. So you click on that. And then this is the folder I'm going to check every night to make sure that I'm printing out everything. So there's a couple things in here. Don't put anything into these folders. All right, these are folders that I'm going to put your projects in after I print them out. Or if there's an error, it'll go in this folder. So you guys just drag it over to here. And then I'll check it by time and date, and then I'll print them out in the order that they're put in. But again, if there's an error, I'll have to drag it over and put it into this file, and then we'll talk about it in class. All right, you won't be able to open this file up because you need a special 3D printer software to open it up. So if you click on it, don't think that there's something wrong. It just won't work. Okay, so that's how you download and then set your file in the folder so that we can print it out.